how about any increase in body mass?
Lean body mass, yes. It has the effect of burning body fat, but increases muscle mass. And just to clarify, let me say that anabolic steroids, all anabolic steroids, are recovery drugs. That's what they do. They accelerate healing and tissue repair. So it's not just the clear that does this, but these are all structures similar to testosterone, and that's what testosterone does.
I just want to make sure the question is specific to the clear and the cream, however he defines it, or steroids in general, or...
I'm not asking about what he told Mr. Mosley. I'm only asking for informational purposes right at this point.
No, I understand. Yeah. I'm just saying I'm confused.
Okay.
Are we talking about the clear and the cream, or steroids in general?
I was asking about the clear and the cream, okay. But then Mr. Conte, I believe, said that they don't do anything different than other anabolic steroids. Am I correct that the only difference really is that the clear and the cream were designed to be undetectable?
Correct.
Okay. Now you'll forgive my lack of knowledge about this. So I want to ask some questions about general use of anabolic steroids. Certainly, at least as portrayed in the movies or what you read about in the paper, you can see very muscle-bound men who there are claims that increase in for bodybuilders, for example, are the result of anabolic steroids.
That's correct, but you have to put it in this context. As an example, Tour de France riders are widely known to use anabolic steroids, and if you look at them, they've got 10-inch biceps. Mm-hmm. So taking steroids doesn't necessarily make you big. So it depends upon the type of training that you do and the micro tears and cuts that you create. Bodybuilders are lifting very heavy weights, and then the tissue repair and muscle growth occurs. But if they're taking steroids and they don't do anything like a Tour de France rider, their arms remain 10 inches.
And what
so you can take steroids without looking like a bodybuilder.
Okay. But if you are taking steroids and doing a weight program, in your view, would that tend to increase muscle size?
It's a little more complex than that. The answer would be yes in general, but depending upon the type of weight training program. If you did a high repetition, low weight, the answer would be much less in terms of muscle mass increase compared to a low rep and lifting very heavy weights. That causes more muscle growth.
Okay. And of course the notion of heavy weights versus light weights depends upon the size of the person and the physical condition and things of that nature. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the effects in terms of muscle growth have everything to do with the type of training.
Okay. And is there something known in your area of sports as fast twitch versus low twitch
slow
muscles?
Twitch.
What?
Fast twitch and slow twitch.
Yes. What's the difference?
Fast twitch helps sprinters, as an example, because they're more explosive, and you find more slow twitch muscle fiber with long distance runners. And you can develop either fast or slow twitch muscle fiber depending upon the type of weight training that you do. If you lift very heavy weights for low repetitions, that stimulates fast twitch muscle fiber, and if you do high repetitions with low weights, has a tendency to stimulate slow twitch muscle fiber.
Which would be for long distance.
Correct.
And how do, I'm going to try and make this question, it's going to be the lack of my knowledge that may make this question nonsensical to you, but I'm going to do my best. In terms of practical effect, what does an increase in fast twitch muscles do?
Makes you faster and more explosive and stronger.
Okay, and what does an increase in slow twitch muscles do?
Would help you with endurance and more repetitions at a lower percent effort.
Okay.
And I just wanted to be clear, this is his understanding.
It's my understanding.
That's right.
Yes.
You know, he doesn't hold himself out to be a PhD in anything.
Although you do consider yourself to be an expert on the...
More of a student.
have you ever stated anywhere that you have an expertise with respect to the use and effects of steroids?
I don't recall use and effects of steroids and saying that I'm an expert. I don't recall saying
I'll tell you what. There is no dispute that he was known by a certain circle as being an expert in making sure these performance-enhancing drugs, these illegal drugs, however we want to describe them, that he could help or had knowledge as to how to keep them from being detected.
But you would also consider yourself very knowledgeable about the actual effect of...
Somewhat knowledgeable.
Okay. When I say, let me finish the question, effect of steroids on people who use them. And your answer is somewhat knowledgeable.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Now, I want to go back to the conversations that you had with Mr. Mosley about the clear and the cream. What did you tell him, if anything, about the benefits that he might achieve through the use of the clear and the cream?
That the benefits were the exact same benefits that you would receive from using anabolic steroids, because they were anabolic steroids, both of them, which would be to accelerate healing of muscle tissue and enhance recovery.
Was it your understanding as a boxer whether he would benefit from an increase in fast twitch or slow twitch muscles?
To the best of my knowledge, I would say fast twitch for explosive punching power and speed.
Did you ask him any questions about any weight training regimen he was on?
Not the specifics. I knew that he did weight training with Daryl, but not the specific weight training program was never discussed.
So the issue of whether he was doing high weights at low repetitions or lower weights at high repetitions was not discussed.
Well, what I recall was discussed, and there are also notations on the calendars on the days that you do the more heavy lifting and you do the most damage and create the most micro tears and cuts in the muscle tissue. Those are the days that you would use insulin to enhance recovery, and you do it immediately after you finish training. And you take it in combination with one of the products that is called proglycin that we sell, and that product was actually designed originally for bodybuilders that used insulin post-training because it transports these amino acids and glycogen to the muscle storage compartment. So there were several days that we talked about that are on the calendar, not all the days, but they got a general understanding of what days you use it. And then there were some notations a few days after they left, like the middle of that following week and thereafter, where it was my understanding they were going to do, those would be the heavier weight training days, because there are insulin notations on the calendar.